and then we'll start the session. Okay, and we're live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. As usual, there's quite a lot today, and there's a few news to talk about. There's a nice report released by CoinGecko, and also some some macroeconomic indicators to look at. So let me start sharing my screen straight away. Okay. Okay, let me close that out. Okay, let's start from again from the macroeconomic events. This week, let me just filter it because there's too much. Okay, as you say, this week hasn't been particularly heavy from the point of view of announcements. There have been some announcement from the UK, from Canada, not much from New Zealand. Obviously, they raised interest rates on Wednesday, but nothing much has come from the meeting minutes of the Monetary Committee in the US. And probably the things that are left for today, the one that is more expected to move market is the inflation announcements, because the PCE price inflation is the one that the authorities look at more closely to determine their interest rate policy. Okay, so if you look at it with any of these in Forex Factory, by the way, if you don't know what they are, you just click on the file here in the middle of the website, and I'll tell you what that is. Okay, PCE is a measure of inflation that differs from CPI because it only measures goods and services targeted towards and consumed by individuals. Okay, so it tells you how expensive it is for your pockets, really. The effect of inflation on the things that you are likely to buy. Okay, so this is it's expected today before the markets open. Obviously, I'm in the UK, so the US market opens for me at 2:30 p.m. So an hour before the markets open in the US. Okay, and it's still expected to, as you say, to go up from last month, and this is pretty much what we have seen in the past month or so in February. And I would like to bring your attention to this. Okay, and now if you see here on the left hand side, we have the S&P 500. Okay, and this is a chart that covers basically from beginning of 2022. I marked here, okay, the last day of 2022 where the market finished, and this is where it ended at the end of 2022. So from here on, is this latest move is being the 2023 move. But if we see what's happened in 2022, we've had about a 20% drop generally in the S&P 500, which represents 500 stocks and shares in the US market. So it's a broad index that is used to measure the performance of the stock market in the US, much better representative than the Dow Jones that only has 30 stocks in its index. Now, so it dropped 20%. At one point, it go down to 27%. So quite a significant drop. If you think that the average over the past 10 years have been between 10 and 15% growth, so we have had basically a year and a half worth of a drop in the S&P 500 in 2022. And this is here on the right hand side. Instead is a dollar index, so it shows you the strength of the dollar compared to a basket of other currencies. Now, if we measure what happened here, so this is where it opened in 2022, and this is where it ended. Okay, so as you can see, it's a different picture. So we've gone up 8%, but at one point we were up like 20%. So the dollar is being the most successful investment, if you can call it that, in 2022, because as every asset price was going down, the dollar was going up. But the reason why I was showing you this is not so much to tell you what happened in 2022, but to show you the correlation between, the dollar and the stock market. So I don't know if you're starting to get the picture. Okay, so you can see here, for example, in this past week or so. Sorry, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Sorry. You can see what happened in 2023. So let me just go down. So, okay. So this shows you 2023, and this shows you 2023 as well. Okay. So this is the 2023 market. You can see that, generally speaking, that the market went down as the dollar was going up. So you can see we started in 2022 up to September 2022. The dollar kept going up, and at the same time, the market from beginning of 2022 sorry, we just always got the zoom controls in the way. Okay, so till a little bit later, till October 2022 went down, and then as the dollar started coming down, the market started picking up. Okay, and you can see this more recently in 2023. Oops, sorry. Okay, you can see in 2023, as the dollar originally kept losing value because of expectations that interest rates had peaked, and so the yield on the bonds and the money that you could get for your savings or investing in bonds has started going down, and people started investing back in the stock market. So you can see value of the dollar going down, value of the stock market going up. So what happened then? Why from beginning of February now, as the stock market carried on going down? And this is why this is happening, because at the same time there has been a change of discourse from the people that make the decisions about interest rates, because they have tried to dampen expectations that the interest rate at peak, because they said that inflation is not under control again. So as they then change the market expectations, because the market had priced in a maximum rate for the US dollar of about 4.9%. And now, since the beginning of February, the expectation are that the dollar will peak at about, the interest rate on the dollar will peak at about 5.3%. So it's almost half a point more expensive. And this obviously has an effect on companies, because companies look for finance. And now, so that means that their costs have gone up by 0.5%, which is quite a lot. Okay, so what they can get as a result for the money they invest in their businesses now has gone down, because the initial cost to access those loans is gone higher. So keep an eye, just for any of you that are investing into anything, always keep an eye on these two indexes and how they relate to each other. So remember the dollar index on one side. Sorry, what am I looking at now? Sorry, I think I've changed. Oh, no, yeah, it's fine. Sorry, the S&P 500 on one side and the dollar index on the other side. Always keep an eye on how they are going, because they can give you a pretty good indication. And now, as we see, as well, in particular with the dollar index, it's approaching a level of supply, and so this is not surprising. I mean, it's not going to happen now, today or tomorrow, but it could in the next couple of weeks enter this level of supply. And this also because we could hear now different interviews, different pronouncements from either the head of the Federal Monetary Committee, or for members of the board, that could be more considered more dovish. Okay, so in the way that they will not be as aggressive in raising interest rates, and and literally, I mean, we are expecting maybe 1 or 2 more raises in interest rates before they pause. So get into about April, May time, where we expect to reach the top rate of interest. Okay, so this pretty much coincides, this level of supply, with what is probably going to happen. And also, you show it here on the going back to the calendar, where funny enough, and not so much the numbers. The numbers are important because then the decisions will be based on the numbers. But what the market pays a lot of attention to is these things here. So the trying to understand what's in the mind of the people who made the decisions. Okay, and this is what is, so they're looking more at interviews, things that are coming out. For example, this week, all week we've had the G20 meetings. So what happens, and why we might see, some unexpected moves, especially in the price of currencies during this week, is because these guys are in their meetings, and then they come out for a break, and the journalists pounce on them like vultures, and then they get a snippet of something, and that then sends a shock through the market for depending on who they manage to get the interview with, and sends a signal to the market that wasn't expected. So it's a very nervous market at the moment, and everybody is trying to get an advantage, trying to understand where the wind is blowing, basically, at the moment. So many different assets are ranging at the moment, because trying to actually time the market precisely is very difficult. Okay, but the expectation, so understand that this what's happened in 2023, especially what's happened from February, if you remember, I spoke to you before, as the dollar index had broken a very long-term level of support, there was expectation to carry on going down, but instead the opposite happened because of the kind of pronouncements of the offices of the Federal Monetary Committee. Now let's move on to more like crypto now related subjects. What time is it? Okay, and we start from safety. I know that many of you that listen to this regularly are from Australia, and so I thought this was interesting as one of the articles that took my attention. So there are many the Australians are targeted because for 2 reasons. First of all, because they are relatively wealthy compared to other countries, and 2, because the authorities in Australia are not willing or unable to investigate online investment fraud. Okay, so many crime syndicates now are targeting Australia and Canada. Okay, so those at the moment are the top spots for scams, and not just crypto scams, scams in general, but then many of these scams obviously are connected to crypto payments. Okay, so I would say be very, very careful, and especially as many of these scams will come through social media and by telephone call. Okay, people actually calling you up and trying, convincing you to invest in something, something that gives you incredibly lucrative returns. Okay, so be extra careful, please, on something, and don't. As usual, guys, I've started saying this from day one. Don't click on things that you don't know. Okay, things that you're not sure of. So keep your finger in your pocket when you are on social media. On a different subject, this, for those of you that use Mac, there is a very dangerous malware. What it does is it steals computing power from your computer to mine cryptocurrencies. Okay, and then linking them, obviously online with thousands of computers doing this. Now, and the funny thing is that the Mac as an app to see what's running on the Mac. So whenever the app is fired, this stops working and becomes invisible. So it is very difficult to stop and to and to deal with it. But the one thing, again, the way that this spreads is because of people that have basically downloaded pirate software, especially this Final Cut Pro, which is a movie editing package. So again, I'm not saying that, without going into technical things, you don't have to become, an expert in computers, malware, but just saying, avoid no cost, please. So don't download dodgy software, okay? Because that is something that can cause you big problems in the future, okay? So that's the main way that this is being spread at the moment. So please just keep yourself to official channels when you're downloading software. Now, on, again, you hear many things, many news related to crypto, especially many scary news. Okay, but on the other side, we have got the reality of something like this, like 130 US banks are actually exploring crypto. Why is that happening? It's because they realize that their customers are asking them all the time to be able to do things with cryptocurrency, and obviously many people are not confident, managing their own cryptocurrency, and so they would like the bank to make it possible for them. So banks have gone from kind of like fighting cryptocurrency tooth and nail because it was a danger to the business model, to try to get in on the game, because they're thinking, well, whether we like it or not, people are getting are going into cryptocurrencies. So we might just like sit there and watch our business slowly being eroded, or we can try and get a slice of the pie. So this is what it's happening actually on whatever the regulators are doing. This is what the banks are doing, are trying to get in on the game and trying to offer some services to people that want to use cryptocurrencies within the so-called safety of the systems. Okay, and this is one for the US, and then we have another one that's related to Germany. So and just by the way, these are the journalists that that write about crypto. So excuse the kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it typos or call it ignorance or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so this is Germany's second bank that's offering crypto custody services to institutions. And again, the way the institutions can invest in some of these cryptocurrencies is not directly, but they have to go through certain steps. One of these steps is having a custodian for the cryptocurrency. So this is where some of the banks as well are getting into the market for custodian. Sorry, there's somebody that doesn't have the mic closed. If you don't mind, please muting yourself, unless you want to ask something. Okay, so this is one of the services, and we have seen a big increase of custodian services starting to be offered in at the end of 2021 and during 2022. Again, this is something, a little incremental differences that we will see before we get institutions actually easily then accessing these services. So one of them is this custodian services for institutions that want to invest directly in cryptocurrencies, and the other one is obviously offering exchange traded products and exchange traded funds which invest in cryptocurrencies but can be bought and sold on the stock exchange. Okay, so those are two types of services that have been kind of developed in 2022 because there is a lot of interest from institutions in again investing in cryptocurrencies. Now, what do you think this does? This increased interest in cryptocurrencies to nation states. Now, nation states, the biggest business of any nation state, being the US, Australia, the UK, Europe, wherever, or whichever other nation, is to manage their currency, because that's their biggest earner for any nations out there. Okay, because without you realizing, simply for the fact that you are using a particular currency to to go and do your daily transactions, you pay a huge amount of money to the institution that is managing that that currency, that fiat currency. Okay, so they will obviously feel threatened, and this is why the IMF came back with something like a useless crypto policy framework, to be honest with you. But one of the things that they come out with is like safeguard monetary sovereignty and stability by strengthening monetary policy frameworks, and do not grant crypto assets official currency or legal tender status. Now, what El Salvador did last year is it's really sticking in their neck, because they don't like it at all. Because especially if one country can show that, moving from fiat money to Bitcoin or crypto money in general can be beneficial to their country, that causes a huge problem. Because again, not just if you think about the dollar, for example, the dollar is not just used in the US, but it is also used in many failed economies, that cannot support their own currency. And there are many small countries that actually use, stronger countries as the daily the way of transacting. And look at, I'm not just talking about the dollar, but also like there was like the French franc that was used in Africa, like for many countries, currency, and it was just only used in the colonies. So there are many advantages for these countries to have their money used somewhere else, because again, these failed economies, so to speak, that are using dollars, don't have a say in how how this currency is administered, but they still have to use it. Okay, so obviously if you think about the issuing of a currency as a business, what comes out, the profits of the business go back to the issuing currency, to the issuing country. They don't stay in the kind of small country that cannot support their own currency. Okay, so we have seen already some big advantages for El Salvador in this brief period that they have adopted Bitcoin as legal standard. And I know that there are many countries that are looking, although they haven't taken the steps that El Salvador has, but they are seriously looking at moving from a fiat standard to a Bitcoin or crypto standard. So other things that they're actually interesting to the developments, MasterCard. Now, and this is very interesting for unbanking. So they rolled out a system that will allow for you to pay directly from your crypto wallet. So what this system does, so is basically the way you be able to use your cryptocurrency at the point of sale, and simply your cryptos will be then converted by MasterCard to the local currency, and then use it for the transaction. Now they're going to use USDC. Oops, sorry, excuse me. They're going to use USDC for these purchases. So that's the that's the asset at the moment that you're going to have to use if you're using this particular payment. But on a different provider as well, Binance and Ingenico, which is it's a point of sale provider in France, have actually introduced a joint venture to be able to pay with cryptocurrency with Binance Pay directly at the point of sale. Okay, so this is how you would use it basically. So just directly from your Binance account, you'll be able to to pay with cryptocurrency. So you can see that this now is impinging on the main business for banks, credit card companies, and everybody else that's involved in transactions, which is a massive business, obviously, and it's starting to take tiny little bit of market share. But it's not so much the market share that it's taking; it's the fact that it could pretty much make their technology unnecessary. And this is the big worry. So this is why you see Visa, MasterCard, and similar institutions actually be trying to get in on cryptocurrency, because they are trying to remain relevant. Because the moment that you can use directly the crypto in your wallet to pay for goods, why do you need them? So not as a transaction. Obviously, you might still need a credit card if you are buying things on credit, but if you are just paying for something with funds that you have, you don't need the bank to be an intermediary in the payment. You can directly, the same way that you use cash, you don't need a bank to handle the cash. You can directly pay with cash to the retailer. The same way you'll be able to do it now with direct crypto payments. Okay, and that can change the dynamics of finance in general and the way that people pay for things. So another very interesting development, and for those of you that have to pay crypto taxes, are involved in taxes, Binance has launched Binance Tax, so that you'll be able to estimate your liabilities on Binance, so you can generate tax reports directly from your Binance account. Okay, so you can have a realized capital gains, income gains report, and a transaction report that you can generate that will help you, to calculate your tax if your holdings, obviously, at least for the Binance part of your crypto holdings. Okay, and as I was saying, all these developments are worrying for the authorities, and so I'll show you now a number of things that are scary, kind of like news that are meant to basically keep people away from cryptocurrencies. So this is Gary Gensler again, that hints that again Ethereum is a security, and there is this, there is this big power struggle in the US with the SEC trying to basically write cryptocurrency law simply by enforcement. And there is now a power struggle even between regulators, because from one point the SEC is being very aggressive towards different projects and stable coins and other things, and on the other side now the regulator thinking, wait a minute, this is something that needs to be legislated by Congress and not simply by enforcement action, because there is nothing really, there's no legislation in place instructing the regulators on how to progress, and they really are making it up as they go along, in the sense that using legislation is not meant for cryptocurrencies to control cryptocurrencies as well. So that's one of the news. Then we have, this is what we talked about last week as well, the Paxos, which is it's a stable coin provider, and the one that mints BUSD, which is the stable coin that's used on Binance, and it's been asked to stop minting BUSD. I mean, BUSD is still fully collateralized, and you can still use it. At least they've got a timeline of at least 1 year where you can still be supported. But the thing that they are worried about is this, what they call these unresolved issues. Basically, is the US regulator doesn't like Binance. And so they say that Paxos hasn't really reported on their relationship with Binance regarding this project. And by the way, nothing is decided, but they've been presented with a notice to then of an enforcement action. So we still don't know what this enforcement action will be. Okay, but they've been forewarned that that this is coming. So this again probably be something that will go through the courts and etc. etc. It will last several months. But one thing to notice is that Paxos is one of the most conservative of stablecoin issuers. So if this is if they were to lose the case, and this case was to produce a precedent, I mean, we don't know exactly what this will mean for the stablecoin business in the US. Okay, because then this could spill over onto also other stablecoin providers. But we'll see. We'll see exactly. We'll have to wait and see what the once the enforcement action has started, what it really says, and which part of them are they attacking. Okay, it could be that the BUSD on Binance has receives you can stake it and receive interest of about up to 6%. So it could be part of it that because of that it is considered a security, or the New York regulators said, I don't know how they make these things up. Okay, really, you couldn't make it up. But they're saying that the department authorized Paxos to issue BUSD on the Ethereum blockchain, and they haven't authorized it to issue BUSD on the Binance blockchain. I mean, really? I mean, you really couldn't make it up. But it's almost like feels that they are trying to, find something to pick Paxos on, rather than any serious objections to the business model. Okay. So this is kind of like a different one that they now, so as the regulator is attacking Binance, now Binance had, after, this is regarding Voyager. Okay, Voyager filed for bankruptcy last year, and then FTX put an offer that was accepted to buy Voyager, then FTX failed, and then Binance went in for another offer for Voyager, which was accepted, and now the regulators has actually opposed this plan by Binance US. So this is at the moment is at the end of the day is up in the air, because again we don't know if this is going on. So for those that are fans on Voyager, they will look into the possibility of getting back at least some of the funds that were locked on Voyager. Now this is going to take longer. So I can imagine how people are happy about this, especially if they had some Voyager funds that are now locked. Okay, now away from regulation, and we are in a period now where cryptocurrency is started to become interesting again. Obviously, in January and February, it's gone up in price. We've gone from 16,000 in Bitcoin to about 24 now, 23, 24. So people are starting again finding interesting things. Now, how do you find interesting projects? And this is the thing that is unbelievable, okay? Because if you were to buy stocks and shares, generally you wouldn't take your tips from Facebook, you wouldn't take them from your mate down the pub, and you wouldn't take them from your neighbor. This is mainly what is happening in crypto. So people are looking for the bright new thing to invest in, thing that nobody has heard of. It's the next star that is going to make you millions. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that there is some, like you would do if you were buying stocks and shares, and you would do some fundamental analysis on the stocks that you want to buy to understand everything about the company that you want to buy shares of. The same thing you can do in crypto. Okay, so what I'm saying though, is just start to get some proper understanding of the crypto projects that you are thinking of investing in, and stop listening to Facebook, and also to the marketing that comes from the project that you want to invest in. Just listen to all sorts of sources that are away from the project. And I mean, this is I'll show you this again, because this is something I've been, shouting from the rooftop ever since I started doing this crypto hour. Now, if you look at the data, Polkadot and Cardano have been at the top of the development activity for not just for months, but for a long time. Okay, so for a long time. So if you think that a project can do something, and whatever it is, I hear in every week people that they're trying to sell me projects and say, "Oh, we're going to do great things." The first thing you got to ask for anything is thinking, okay, how many developers do you have? Where is the proof that there is anything going on in that project? So if you know that kind of like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, I've got tens of thousands of developers. Now, if a new project has got maybe four guys that are developing an app, and you think that that's going to be the next big thing that is going to revolutionize crypto, but think again. These are the kind of like basic sources of information that you should avail yourself of when you're thinking of making a cryptocurrency investment. Because yes, you might, there are on occasion the projects that will grow like 500 times in the space of a year or something like this. But strictly speaking, those projects are the ones that are pushed by venture capitalists for the sole reason of then cashing out once the hype has died down, and then they get out of the project and then they move their money somewhere else, and you'd be left. Sometimes, if you bought at the right time, you can make some money. Most of the time, most people are left carrying the can. Okay, so what I'm telling you, concentrate on the projects that are building good things for the future, because this technology is still going to be here in 5, 10, 15 years time. And the projects that are still going to be there are the ones that are doing good groundwork now. Okay, so think well of the projects that you are investing in, if you are investing in cryptocurrency. And the other thing is that do look at them and understand who's behind them, who's doing the work, how many people are working on projects and so on. Excuse me. Okay, another interesting project, and again, it's Anchor. Now, this has grown 60% following a partnership with Microsoft. But Anchor is something that has been, and those of you that are in my kind of paid masterclass will know, this is one of the projects that we have had on our list since beginning of 2021. And again, thinking about not just it rallies 60% because they partner with Microsoft, but because this is a solid company that's doing real work. Now, although you might not have heard of Anchor before, what they do is that they provide nodes for a variety of projects. So the ones that provide the infrastructure so basically they compute the physical infrastructure, the servers that networks need to rely on to then, so that you can connect to them with your MetaMask account or whatever, and you can get to use the the services of the application that you're using. Okay, so again, this is real work going on. It's not FUD, and it's not something that's being pushed by venture capitalists to make a quick buck. Okay, so that's an example of, for example, a good company that is doing good work in a good project that is now basically reaping the rewards because of a partnership that they have they are close with Microsoft. Okay, on a couple of new things, and then we'll okay, there's no time today to look at the report, but I will show you very quickly a couple of things. This is another Cardano. Obviously, I must give you some Cardano news. Emergo, which is one of the founders, let's say, of Cardano, is considered like the commercial arm of Cardano, really, has launched a social platform called Cardano Spot. At the moment, it's still in kind of a closed So it's still a better version of it. So it's not the official launch, but it's going to be like a social platform for everything Cardano, because now the Cardano ecosystem is growing so large that it is in need of some spaces that are easily where you can talk about all things Cardano. You can search projects in the Cardano environment and so on. So it will have a news feed providing updates on the Cardano ecosystem, a library to discover new Cardano projects and the latest trends, and an events calendar. So you can find out whatever is going on in the Cardano world. And this is another statistic that's interesting to notice. Is this is for Coinbase users. The average time that they hold on to Cardano tokens is close to 200 days. And I'm just talking about Coinbase. Okay, so I'm not talking about general time that people are staked or something like this, because that would be longer than this. But this is just for Coinbase users buying Cardano, and this is also a quite recent development because Coinbase didn't list Cardano until recently. So it's quite significant to see that that's already it's already this high. Okay, a couple of last things. And this is the, again, like I say, more and more projects now are trying to get in on the, to get some involvement with cryptocurrencies. And this is Spotify that partners with different NFT projects to test NFT locked curated playlists. So there will be some playlists that you only have access to if you possess an NFT of that particular project. So how you will go in, you will go on to, you connect to wherever you hold your NFTs, maybe in your MetaMask and so on, and you connect to Spotify and be able to access those playlists. So this is just a test, but it is a significant. I mean, Spotify has been playing around with NFTs with different projects. These are still tests, but it is, when you have all these different traditional digital sellers, they're all trying to get in on the crypto and NFT kind of hype. Then obviously there is a lot of interest from projects in the normal economy to want to get in on the game. And just show you, I mean, I'm just telling you this not because this will revolutionize Spotify or revolutionize crypto because Spotify has got involved, but simply to show you how much interest there is out there for crypto. Although it is still tiny compared to other asset classes, this will show you that the big boys are looking at it seriously because they realize that this could seriously make a difference to their business. Okay, I'll just show you very, very quickly for a few minutes. Where are we? This is a report just been published by CoinGecko. CoinGecko and 21 Shares. They have tried to write a new crypto classification standard. So the same way, like you see, if you look at stocks and shares, like all stocks are divided into different classifications, financials, utilities, etc., etc. They're trying to do a similar thing for cryptocurrency. So you can quickly have a look, and you can download this. If you go to CoinGecko, there's a banner on their homepage. You can download this. I just wanted to quickly show you what they are trying to do. So we have kind of a three levels. The can say the crypto stack, okay, where they are basically looking at the so they only refer to networks instead of the underlying crypto assets. So this is how they have tried to divide it. Like one is cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Litecoin or Monero, etc., etc. Then we have some app-specific blockchains. They are built for one specific function, like, for example, data storage with Filecoin. Then we have centralized apps, which are apps from centralized players like Coinbase, Binance, OpenSea, and so on. We have interoperability blockchains that decide for inter-blockchain communication, like Polkadot and Cosmos, or in a different way also Avalanche. Then we have oracles, where so those are they are blockchains. They offer a connection between the real world data in the real world and make it available to decentralized application. Then we have the decentralized application. You can see we got C apps and D apps, basically dApps. Then we have scaling blockchains. They are designed to increase the speed of transactions on the blockchain. And then we have smart contract platforms like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Algorand, etc., etc. So this will show you, and I will encourage you to read, to read it. But it will show you what different projects do and what different infrastructure does. Okay, so if you think that like Bitcoin or Litecoin, they are basically like digital cash that is designed to replace the use of cash and to be used sometimes like store of value as well. For English smart contract platforms is like additional nation state in a way. There is the settlement layer on top of which all sorts of things can be done. So each smart contract is almost like a nation with its own currency that drives the activity within that that ecosystem. Okay, and then we have these, as you can see, all different definitions with the scaling protocol, like Starkware, like Polygon, like Arbitrum, and I will encourage you to read it in your own time, because it's we don't have time to go through everything. But it will make things a lot clearer for you if you spend 10-15 minutes reading this, because it's kind of define things, at least attempts to define things in a systematic way. Okay, and so this shows you what the difference between the different projects do. So we have the physical world on one side, then oracles that provide the connection, where they then read all kind of data that's in the physical world and then make it available for blockchain projects. So then we have app-specific blockchains, smart contract platform that can, where then interoperability protocols like Cosmos and like Polkadot work, where they are trying to establish a sort of I call Wi-Fi standard for cryptocurrency. So the projects on Ethereum, projects on other blockchains can exchange data seamlessly. And we have centralized application, decentralized applications, DAOs, again, which are internet native businesses and kind of decentralized autonomous organization. They are increasingly started to be accepted as a legal entity in different countries. There are some states in the United States where the DAOs are recognized, and other places around the world where the legislation is starting to be put in place for this new form of businesses to be recognized. And then we have cryptocurrencies that can, some of them which they are equated to commodities, like Bitcoin, for example. And then we have stable coins that integrate with smart contracts. They make it easy to then transfer value, again, easily from the physical world to the internet crypto world. So that was the first level. Then we have the second level, which is the by market. So we have then you can see the app development, number one, that we have centralized finance, metaverse, decentralized finance, entertainment, leisure, identity, storage, infrastructure, Internet of Things, and interactive media. So these are all like, generally speaking, how the crypto market can be mapped according to sectors and industries. And again, this will give you an explanation of what these different sectors are. Okay, and then we go on to the level 3, and we'll tell you what kind of the taxonomy of crypto assets. So you look at it, depending on what asset you have, are they capital assets, consumable or transformable assets like commodities, for example, or they're store of value. And then we can be classified according to what the what their main purpose is. So again, we have cryptocurrencies, native currencies, state currency, derivative tokens, governance tokens, utility tokens. As you can see, please do go in and let's say, spend a little time reading it and maybe rereading it a couple of times, because it will make things a lot clearer for you. Okay, and this is some of the kind of like basic kind of work that you can start doing. Let me stop sharing now. You can start doing to inform yourself about cryptocurrencies. Obviously, I'm not expect you to become an expert in cryptocurrencies overnight, but if you start reading about it in the right and the right start, so you don't read rubbish on social media, but in the proper channels, you might grow to understand and make your own assumptions on project based on facts rather than hype. Okay, so I hope that this has been useful, and let's see if there are questions now. In a few minutes, just remind everybody, as we always talk about Cardano, Jonathan runs a Cardano section every Friday. Like today, it starts at 9:30, so in about half an hour. And please, John, put the link in the chat box. And I know that most of you by now should have the link, but if you don't, then it'll be in the chat box in a minute. So you can. I would encourage you to go and follow his session as well, to know more about this fantastic community that Cardano represents. Okay, and this is Anne-Marie. It's been very nice to post the link for you for the CoinGecko publication. But by the way, you just go to guys. Don't be lazy. Just click CoinGecko. It's on the main page. It's on the home page. How difficult can it be? So thank you, Anne-Marie. But don't make people lazy. Okay, it's a little bit of work if they want to find information. Okay, all right. So let's get some questions if there are any. Okay, I can see some mouth movings that people are all like muted. If you want me to hear it, then unmute yourself.
Luca, Emergo, when can we see that the Emergo social platform, and what will it be called?
Oh, it says Cardano Spot, I believe. Let me just check. Cardano Spot, yeah, Cardano Spot. To be honest with you, I've just read the article this morning. Okay, so I don't know any more than what I've shared with you. But if you put in Cardano Spot, I mean, I don't know if Jonathan, do you know any more about it, or still too fresh for you as well? If you can hear us. No, probably Jonathan is not at the desk right now.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. So that's all I know about it at the moment. So I want to know more about it, but I know it's still in test test mode. I think they just launched the open beta, but before they had a closed beta, it was only accessible to a few people. Now should be, the open testnet basically to check it. So go and have a look and see if you can connect to it and see. Cornelia, I am not an expert on computer security, so find yourself somebody that can look into your system. But yeah, I don't know how to check the Apple for this malware. But the main thing you can do, just try to not deal with pirate software, because that will go a long way to for you not loading any of this malicious software in your computer. Okay, any more questions? We still got a few minutes, so.
Luca, El Salvador was a project with the cryptocurrency. Is it going well? One hears different things.
Well, you can hear as much as I hear from what I have read. So far is going quite well, and in particular, what it has brought to El Salvador is double-digit growth that they hadn't seen ever, for their GDP ever since they were formed. So I don't think that it's going too badly. They repaid also an IMF loan that everybody was saying that they would default on, but they didn't. They paid it in full. So I think that things are going okay for them. But we'll see. I think with these things only time will tell. But obviously the IMF is trying to scare everybody, because if more countries adopted cryptocurrencies as a legal tender, then their influence would become lesser.
If there's good news, and it would be good for other countries to follow as well.
Yeah, I know, and there are so many countries that are looking at that, especially the weakest ones. Like in Africa, for example. It's looking interesting, and I think that this follows as well the crypto being born like from the bottom up rather than from the top down, because I always thought that the big revolution in crypto will happen from the poorest countries rather than the richest ones that then impose in their system. Because the difference is that for me and you, you can use crypto or you can't use it. It doesn't really make that much of a difference to your life, but from many people in poor countries, it could make a huge difference to their life, because they have services in crypto they couldn't have in the real world. Like talking about unbanking, there are people that are unbanked not by choice, but because they have no access to the financial system, but they have access through a phone, they have access through crypto, and they can use that instead and have similar products, access to similar products that they couldn't do through a bank. Simple as that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other? What's Cornelia, best bet for number 2 and number 3 countries? You mean for? I know that there was a website that was doing that, where they had the values of fiat currencies compared to in Bitcoin as well. And like if Bitcoin was a world currency now, it would be in the top 30 currencies in the world. I can't remember the address of the website itself, but I don't know what the number 2 and number 3 countries. There was apparently, I haven't quite followed it closely, but I've heard that the number 2 country was the Central African Republic, but not much. I haven't really, apart from the original announcements, I haven't read much more about that. But obviously, yeah, we're not talking about huge countries in terms of GDP, but you sum a lot of small countries together, and they start to be starts to be relevant. Okay. Any other questions, or shall we?
But may I ask one more question about this interesting subject?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so this number 2 and number 3 country question. There's of course two things, as I understand it from you. There's the amount of people that use it, so this value thing between cryptos versus the fiat money in that country. And there is, I would think, even more important, the government thing, that a government that is, how you say, courageous enough to take this huge step, which El Salvador has done. So I understand your answer. Look at the ratio of cryptocurrency versus fiat money. But I was actually asking for, have you heard about any governments considering it, or is there no information on that?
No, just what you read in the news. But the thing you got to look at is that there are, I mean, although think about, for some people may be desirable or not, but on the other side, you see that countries where it's the citizens that are using these because their currency, they don't want to hold the national currencies. Look at Venezuela. Look at Argentina, for example, has got one of the highest number of users for crypto, simply because, you know, you hold the local currency, it basically burns a hole in your pocket every day, you know. So people are looking at other ways to to exchange value. And so one of the African success stories was M-Pesa, which basically was a mobile network. And again, this is in Kenya, where people again didn't want to use the local currency. They bought and sold items, paying in mobile minutes, because with this mobile network, you could actually transfer minutes from your phone to another phone. And people, so this was born not even like a cryptocurrency, which now has become, but was born just as a way of exchanging value. So these are necessities driven projects, rather than, you know, something that we are sitting comfortably in the Western world. You know, we can use this if we want to, but we don't really need to. So that's the difference, and this is why we're seeing this. There are many countries where this stuff is needed. It's not a nice thing to have, but it's a necessity, and this is why we are getting these, you know, people considering it, because they are between a rock and a hard place. What do we do? You know, what are the options for Venezuela, for other countries there where people have lost faith, Zimbabwe, something like this, where people have lost faith in the national currency? They can't, you know, they have to come up with an idea that in a way is like relinquishing part of their power, because they have proven that they are not, you know, they're not capable of doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's my thing. If you want to look at the next the next country to adopt it, look at the next, you know, the most failed states, and then probably we'll have the answer. Sorry, Jonathan, what are you referring to? Each of the fiat currency tab. Are you talking about CoinGecko, or your different website?
Sorry, I'm not very good on the phone. It's the Fiat Market Cap website. So like we've got Coin Market Cap, we've got Fiat Market Cap as well, and that's the one that shows you all the standings, currencies versus each other, and it's got Bitcoin in there as if it were
that's right.
So there's two tabs, one for fiat currencies and one for country.
Fantastic, thank you. So so if those of you that want to look at it, is like fiatmarketcap.com. That's why I couldn't remember the address. Okay, so that's it. So with this one, go and have a look, and that'll be interesting for you to look at as well, and it would put things into perspective, I think. Okay, so I am today is Friday, so enjoy the last day of the week, and especially enjoy the weekend. And I will see you again, you know, head and bushy tail next week. Okay. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye. Goodbye.